I realized that what I love was the events, the build up, the excitement that people have walking into an event that was like a feel a week before that. And I was like, how am I gonna get here? And through a lot of trial and error and falling on my face, unfortunately, I got sick with cancer and I decided I had nothing to lose anymore. So I dropped out of college and my parents, they absolutely lost their shit, left my cushy little beverage event job, and I started Event Lab out of thin air. I'm gonna do it my way.
You're gonna do it your way.
Absolutely.
Welcome to Take the Power Back.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it. Rena Weiser here, dear friend. I'm super, super excited and appreciate you actually taking the time out of your day to come here and do this little thing.
I wasn't going to miss it.
I wasn't going to miss it for the world. So Rena and I go back not that long ago, but weirdly enough, she grew up down the street from my wife.
Yep.
Yeah, very good.
44 years ago.
44 years ago. And then weirdly enough, Facebook reconnected our parents with your parents.
That's
and
right.
That reconnected you with my wife, and here we are.
Here we are. The rest is history.
Really cool. So Rena, I guess, people that are watching this don't know what you do. So first, why don't we just start with, what do you do? Who are you? What do you do?
Yeah. I like to think I am who I am, but
and you do what you do.
Yeah, and I do what I do. I'm an event planner and designer. My company's called Event Lab. Mm-hmm. I started it 13 years ago.
Wow.
But I've been doing events in and around the hospitality space for coming up on 25 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Exciting business, right?
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's pretty glam, and I would think it's a pretty cool business. What's the most notable event you do here in Tampa? I think I know what it is, but it's
got to be Burns Wine Fest. I mean, we're sitting in front of the wine room for a reason.
Right.
So it's an incredible event put on by the Laxer Family Foundation.
Yeah.
You've been, it's got their world-renowned steakhouse. They do multiple dinners and wine pairings, and then it kicks off. It actually ends. It culminates with a huge grand tasting, unlimited food, wine,
drunkenness,
hangovers for sure. Yeah,
it's an amazing event. So I got the luxury. Thank you for going this year.
Yeah,
and it's the who's who in the city of Tampa. By far.
Yeah, it's a wonderful event that sort of fell in my lap 4 years ago. I partially thought it was a prank call when I got the call and asked to do the event, and sort of hit the ground running with it ever since. But they're wonderful to me, and they really trust in my designs and my visions, which can kind of be over the top at times. So they've really let me run with it.
Yeah, that's great. That's amazing. Well, let's do this. What I kind of like to do is to say, let's go all the way back to childhood, where you grew up. Where did you, what was your path? How did you get? What was that path coming from? Did you ever think you're going to grow up and be an event planner? Like, how does this all come together?
It's an interesting story that I was kind of telling you offline before. That for me, I knew that it was going to be somewhere in hospitality. Mm-hmm. I went to college, and I knew before I even stepped foot in my first apartment that it wasn't for me.
Right.
It was just sort of the American dream, that my parents wanted for me. And I hated it. I hated everything about it. But I got a job at a nightclub, and I was a bartender. I was the shittiest bartender
you've ever met.
I mean, the absolute worst. But I had loyal customers that kept coming back every weekend to see me. Our Red Bull rep would come in, and they loved my energy, asked me if I wanted to be a brand ambassador for them. And sounded like a great idea at the time. We weren't even allowed to talk about Red Bull with alcohol back then.
Really?
Nope. We had to promote energy. We were not promoting Red Bull vodkas. Right. So, I kind of started working through that, and I dropped out of college. And, my parents, they absolutely lost their shit.
Oh my God, I can only imagine you and Joe. Yeah.
But once they got over it, my dad is a habitual sweetheart, but he was like, so what are you going to do? And I'm like, oh man, I better figure it out. Yeah. So I was working for Red Bull, and it was an amazing experience working with them sort of from the ground up. It was a lot of guerrilla marketing in the event space then, where we were just showing up at events and blasting people with energy. Yeah. And I realized that what I love was the events, the build up, the excitement that people have walking into an event that was like a field a week before that. And I was like, how am I going to get here? And through a lot of trial and error and falling on my face, unfortunately, I got sick with cancer. And I decided I had nothing to lose anymore. So I left my cushy little beverage event job, and I started Event Lab out of thin air.
Really? Mm-hmm. So this is just, you woke up one day and said, I'm going to be an event planner.
I'm going to do it my way.
You're going to do it your way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Working under someone can only get me so far. Correct. In this space. Yep. And I was doing events their way, and I needed to do events my way, or they were never going to be my events. They were going to be somebody else's events that I put the blood, sweat, and literal tears into. Yeah. And I was never going to get anything out of it other than more work.
So you're working for somebody.
Yep.
You get sick.
Yep.
Right. It's emotionally up and down, I'm assuming. You beat cancer.
Yes.
And then immediately you say, I'm not going to go back to work for the man. I'm going to go take a flyer on myself.
I am. And I, was scared shitless, obviously, to leave not just that steady income, but the insurance and the reassurance that knowing the next day I was going to have a job. Yeah. Where was I going to get clients?
That's a big one, right?
Yeah, right. The biggest one,
the biggest
really.
One. No.
Are they going to suck? Am I going to get any client retention? Am I going to suck?
Right.
Like everything imaginable. But, when you're kind of faced with the real adversity, which is fighting for your health, right, and getting that back, you don't really have a choice anymore. Yeah. There's one lane, and
that's it.
Yeah. And I took it.
They say, what do they say? Necessity is the mother of all invention.
You're right.
Right. So you make this commitment. You said, I'm going to just go pick a flyer on myself. You wake up one day, and I know this feeling as a person who starts up one day, and I had a good job, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I don't have a job.
Right.
I got to go make one.
Yeah.
Before I'm an entrepreneur, before I have a business, I have to go behave like I work for somebody, which is myself.
Yep.
And make no money. So what's your first decision? So you wake up one day, you say, I'm going to start this event planning business. Where's your headspace? Like what's number one for you?
So I had a business partner in the very beginning. She was my roommate at the time. I went to her with this crazy idea. I didn't have a name. I didn't have anything. I said, I'm not going to go back to planning events for someone else. She was in sales. I said, I want to plan my own events, really cool events. You have good style. I like the way you dress. Yeah. And you're in sales. So would you want to start a company with me? Mm-hmm. And so that was my first hire.
That's your first
essentially.
Hire. Right.
And fortunately, her boyfriend at the time was very business savvy, and he had us put together a pretty simple operating agreement. Yeah. it really was simple, particularly when you have nothing.
Right. There's nothing to cut up.
Right. In the event that it didn't work out, I would take the business. She would take the check for the $25 or whatever it was, which ended up working out. It was the first smart business decision I made because within 6 months, she left the company. I took the company, and here we are 14 years later.
Wow. So talk about this. You have this new job. It's all on you.
Yep.
Right. So how do you get your first client?
Oh my gosh. I beg.
Okay.
I plead.
I plead.
So, I used the power of social media that was popular at the time, which was more so Facebook, early Instagram.
Yeah.
And I reached out to a bunch of friends and I said, listen, I'm going to be starting my own thing. If anyone has a really cool party or event coming up that they just need someone to put the pieces together for, I'll do it. Oh my gosh. I was thinking about this when I knew I was coming on here, and I was trying to think what I even charged my first client.
That's what I was going to say. How do you know what to charge?
I think I made up a number. It might have been $500.
It's like $500.
I know. I'm like, I'll pay you. Right. I'll pay you.
Yeah.
So I ended up having a friend of a friend whose birthday it was, and his birthday fell around New Year's, and he didn't want to deal with all the drama of everyone being booked up on New Year's. So he kind of wanted someone to put that all together, gave me his crazy idea. And, I got lucky in that he thought it was an outlandish idea, but it was a casino themed event. I'm like, okay, I could do this. Yeah, I got this in the bag. So, I charged him pennies, and we did our very first event, and he told someone about us, and they told someone about us, and it turned into word of mouth. 14 years later, I have never paid $1 for marketing.
From one event.
From one event.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how does that work? So there's a sales aspect. You basically went on social media and said, "Hey, help me," which is it's a true entrepreneur.
Oh yeah.
Right. Your back's up against the wall. You need to do something. The best way for you to do it is to go reach out to your network and say, "Hey, is there anybody that can give me a lifeline on this thing? Just give me one shot.
Yeah.
Give me one opportunity and I'll go take it from there." But do you have the connections at this point, the organizational ability to pull this off, the creative? So do you just have to figure this out, or did you have that? Because to me, that's horrifying.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, as a true creative, I always had the creative side.
Oh, so you had that down.
It was the rest. So I was organized, but it was a way of working. It was a process that was provided to me by a large company. So, I worked in new age beverages and the liquor industry. So they have, HR, they have processes, they have 50-page manuals and decks. And I was essentially winging it, right?
Yeah.
So, I never knew that inner working side, but anyone who was willing to trade with me, that I could do something for them creatively, and they could help me with some bookkeeping, or they could help me put together a deck so that I could create a vision board for a client, things like that. I was always down to do that. Just anyone who wanted to trade anything with me, any kind of service. I was like, let's do it. Like, if I knew it was something that could help the business in the long run, I didn't know the difference between an LLC and an S corp. I didn't know, if I should be taking a paycheck or distributions. Right. Literally, I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
And the roadmap, like I was telling you, was just riddled with squiggles, because I would try to reach out to other event planners, and they would tell me to beat it.
Right.
They saw me as competition.
You're your competition. Right.
Yeah. So
there's no community in that space, right? There's nobody sharing ideas.
There isn't until you're at the next level. Then all of a sudden it's community over collaboration, or collaboration over competition.
Really?
Right? Yeah, for sure. When I was a nobody, no one wanted to help me.
Right.
But when my company had established itself, then all of a sudden everyone wants to collaborate and they want to vibe. So
when did you start hiring? So do you have people that help you pull these events off? Like, that's a huge event. The Burns event is a massive undertaking.
Yeah, it's a big one.
So how do you rally teams? What's your leadership style when it comes to pulling this off? Right? Because there's a lot of hands, a lot of people, a lot of things, and it has to go perfect.
Right.
Right. So how does that process work?
So I used to have one full-time employee. Mm-hmm. We could go down that rabbit hole if you want, but that employee completely fucked me over and taught me a really, really valuable lesson about how I was going to operate my business, what I was going to share and what I was going to keep to myself. Yeah. And so, of course, that I never want there to be like any tension with anyone who's working with me. So the sauce for me with these bigger events is bringing in freelancers who know the event world. Mm-hmm. There does happen to be a lot of them. I have a handful of people that I really, really trust, and they kind of know a year out, like, these are the events that like, I'm really going to need you to be working with me on. They work with other planners. They do great work. I always say, like, don't worry about it. The only thing is, it just has to be perfect.
No big deal.
No pressure.
No big deal.
It just has to literally be perfect. I really operate on only come to me with a complaint if you have a solution.
Right.
There's no problems. There's solutions.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Stay what you're for.
Yeah.
So basically you reach out, and they're contractors, basically. They're subcontractors. You have relationships with these people, and then you manage that process from start to finish. Yeah.
I have about 6 or 8 freelancers that are kind of on rotation. Mm-hmm. I send them the schedule, and it's kind of first come, first serve basis. Yeah. If they take the event, they're all 1099s. They're free to work wherever they want outside of Event Lab. And it's just worked for me up until this point. So we'll see what my 14th year is going to bring.
Year looks like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I call it the garage days. The garage days is that fight or flight. Like, I need to do something.
Yeah.
And then you get your working days, right? So now you've built a network. Now your question is, how do you take that times 10, right? What's the scalability of that? How do you replicate yourself? Which I guess is challenging in a creative business, because you bring all the creative, right? So how does a vision board work for you? Where do you get your inspiration, or do you feed off others? How does that work in terms of being able to design?
I do a lot of what most people do in any creative space. If you're designing your home, or, you're designing an event, or your wardrobe, maybe like now we have the power of social media at our fingertips like we never had before. Crazy. I mean, you can look on Pinterest and TikTok and Instagram and all the things. And then once you get it to a certain place visually, I mean, nowadays you can ask ChatGPT can come up with the shit that I can't even believe it.
Yeah.
It's like insane. And I will tell you, like, I had the little freebie one, and my husband had the paid plan, and I started using that paid plan. That's where it's at. But, there are some things that I still have my old school process. So, I have my computer in front of me, my iPad in front of me, but every time I meet with a client and I ask them about their vision for the day, I find myself still handwriting notes.
Yeah, writing them down.
I'm old school like that, right?
Well, it gets it solidified in the brain.
Yeah, it's locking it in for sure. And when I'm building the vision boards, I always start with those visuals, because what you think is blue, for example, and what I think is blue might be different. And so to get on the same page with the client, I always show them lots and lots and lots of visuals. And then when I'm creating the actual vision board and the mood board for the event is when I start pulling all of those pieces together. Yeah. I, at this point, have a network of vendors, so I know which vendors are going to provide what. I do a lot of design and fabrication that some event planners don't do. What they do is wonderful, but what my agency offers that kind of sets us apart is we do the event planning and the design. So I build something from the ground up, like you've seen before. Starts as a parking lot, turns into a huge event space.
I was going to ask you, so some of the stuff is it's one thing to design something in a vision. It's another thing to actually be able to execute upon it, source it, build it, make it show up at the time, make it all work. Do you have vendors that do that, or have you just built that relationship over time?
It's vendors and fabricators that we work with. So I work with some freelancers and I work with some that are part of bigger businesses. A lot of the bigger companies that are, your event decor companies, they actually have an event person.
Okay.
And we get to work together in unison. I always come up with the design and then they do the builds, the physical builds.
So that's what they do, right?
They do. They're swinging the hammers. I'm using the brain hammer.
So you're like a general contractor. In essence, like a GC.
I've worked with a couple of GCs before.
I like
to think I'm a little less of a headache than them.
It has to be perfect. Doesn't exist in the GC world, right?
I also have a deadline because that bride has to get down the aisle at that time. So, anytime we've worked with the GC, I love them, but man, it's their hobbies include being late on everything.
That's not going to happen, right?
But essentially, so they're really managing the overall scope of work, and that's what I do for the client.
Okay. I believe the best opportunities for career in life don't come through career services. The best way for you to become the best possible version of yourself and to achieve massive levels of success is for you to be hungry, coachable, and try to find those opportunities directly. Take the Power Back was created to flip that switch, to not have any limitations in terms of the opportunities that are out there in front of you. That's what this platform is really all about. Real jobs, real access, real opportunities, and most importantly, no gatekeepers. Are you serious about success? Then let's take the power back. Join the movement.
So the client comes to me with the idea, I build out the vision for them, I encourage them and suggest them, because not every event and not every wedding that I do is going to be my style. I like to think they've done their homework and they look at my work and they like my unique body of work, and that's why they decide to work with me over someone else. But you never really know, right, until you start working with them. And so I try to encourage them on things that, might be on trend now, but could also be timeless. You want to look back at particularly wedding photos and love them 20 years from now and not go, oh shit, why did I do that?
Can you leave that dress that
I wore? And you get fixated as a client on one detail that you must have, and you pine over it and you lose your mind over it, and you text me at absolutely unreasonable hours about it. And, we just have to bring you back to earth sometimes. So it was part GC, part therapist.
Therapist. Maybe? I was going to say bridezilla, right? Bridezilla.
Yeah. Were you a bridezilla?
I was, well, remember I planned, well, I didn't plan. I didn't know you were an event planner at the time. So we would have definitely used you. But my wife didn't know she was getting married. You knew that. So
yes. It was like a birthday surprise, right?
It was a birthday surprise.
That's
and
right.
it just happened to be a wedding, which is pretty impressive to pull off.
That is such a McCool
move. That was a McCool move, right? What are so talk about, as the business owner, as the salesperson, the designer, the project coordinator, right? Talk about hours, meaning, how much commitment do you have to put when you're starting a business? Or you've got a lot of busy, I'm assuming you have a busy season, and that busy season must be absolutely insane, right? So what's the amount of time commitment that requires to go into the job?
The limit does not exist. When you're an entrepreneur, especially in the beginning, there is no such thing as working hours and time hours. They're one and the same.
Right.
Those time doesn't even exist at that point. There's no Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's 7 days a week.
It's 7 days a week.
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
Oh, yeah.
And, as an event planner, right, I'm assuming, because I've been to these events, you're there and you're on the whole time. Yeah. It's not like you're shooting the shit. You're on.
Yeah.
What time do they end?
I mean,
when it ends.
When the last vendor is out the door and they didn't destroy anything on exit, anything. Because once the event is over, we're on in a different way where we're managing 50, 60, 75 people very capable of human error when offloading an event, where they don't care if they break something now because we don't need it to execute the event.
Right.
But, you accidentally, somebody cares. Yeah. Somebody cares if you accidentally go through a wine wall. Somebody cares.
I would not be happy.
Yeah. So, I like to think that in the coming days after that I really take a breath, but you just sort of, particularly in the early days, you just sort of compartmentalize. I've closed this one and now I have to move on to this one.
Yeah.
If I want to make any money, I got to go. And I have to give them the same 100 that I gave the last one. Right. They don't care that I had an event last week.
No.
At all.
And so when in your busy season, do you have, is it one a week? Is it 3 a week? Is it?
Yeah. So I'm now
managing it.
I'm in a more, I would say, boutique space where I couldn't possibly take more than one event a week. Yeah. You're right about us having a busier season, particularly in Florida, because it's so bloody hot. I know you coming from up north, like these summers are brutal. So seasonally, particularly for weddings, we're not doing anything June, July, August. Right. It's scorching hot. Yeah. I have been so lucky that I don't just do weddings. I also do corporate events, and nonprofit events, or birthday parties. I threw your mom's birthday party. It was a blast.
It was great, yeah.
And also destination events. Yeah. It's an awesome opportunity to do an event in California where it's always 72 and sunny.
That's beautiful.
Boston, Chicago, the Highlands, North Carolina. I'm learning about so many like new epic event destinations in our country ever since COVID, right. Because you used to want to get away, get to the islands, get to Europe, get to somewhere for this destination wedding of your dreams. Now, everyone's trying to stay a little closer to home for these types of weddings. So it keeps me busy year round. For a Burns Wine Fest caliber event, that's in April. I don't take any other events in April. That's 7 days of tablescaping and the huge build out for the grand tasting. So I just can't. It's always been that challenge that I've told you about offline as well. How do you scale a business when you're the model, essentially? Yeah. So that part is something that I still struggle with, because if I turn away business, I'm turning away money.
Right.
And I would love to say I do this to be philanthropic, but I don't. It's my career.
It's a capitalism. It's a career for you. And you're good at it, right? Which is the blessing and curse. So if you're young entrepreneur, right, starting out, you're a Gen Z young lady thinking it would be really sexy to pull off these amazing events, travel the world, do weddings. I want to start my own business. What advice would you give to somebody brand new to start? And it doesn't even have to be a Gen Z. It could be anybody who's saying, you know what, I do something really good. I like it. I work for somebody. I'm just not going to work for somebody anymore. And I'm going to make a commitment to be an entrepreneur.
Well, the younger generation is so hungry for that.
Yes.
For being entrepreneurs, for doing it themselves. They, have a smart roadmap. I don't want to call it an easier roadmap than maybe my generation did, our generation did, but they have a smarter starting point. And I say, just do it. Go for it. Be ballsy. You have to be.
You have to be.
You have to be a badass out of the gate, particularly in the event industry, because everybody thinks they can throw a party.
Right.
Because they had one at their house once. Everybody in this room thinks they can throw a party.
I could throw a pretty good party.
Right.
I just hire you.
Right. Exactly. And then everyone's like, damn, Jason threw an amazing party. And I'm back there like, yeah, he did.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, he did.
That's funny.
You've got to go for it. You have to not be afraid to be broke, because you're not going to just start making money out of the gate.
Yeah.
And there's a really sexy side to it, a really sexy side to event planning, not just financially, because you can make a lot of money doing this, but also accolades feel good.
Yeah.
And it is kind of an accolade-driven business in certain aspects. Now, of course, someone is not going to walk up to me at a wedding and gush over me like they would the bride, but the bride and her mother, who didn't have a fight for a whole year because I was in the background for them, they're going to give you those accolades. And that really boosts your confidence. Yeah. And young entrepreneurs need a confidence boost because we're getting kicked in the balls all day long. Like all day long.
All the time.
Literally,
constantly.
Like nonstop. And then on top of that, you can't show that.
Mm-hmm.
You have to exude confidence. And then you also have to be HR on the back end, and you have to be doing your payroll, and you have to be setting yourself up. And, in my case, it was a more unique case. I had to figure out how I was going to get health insurance.
Right. How did you get health insurance?
Well, I think I went without for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I paid a
ton of money for it.
Probably $1,800 a month for insurance.
Just had to do it.
So that was, 2 events for me at the time. I'm like, I have to do 2 events so I can at least pay for my insurance. Yeah.
So if you looked backwards, right, so where you are today, established, entrepreneurial, great business that you built, what would you say if you were looking backwards and say, if I had to do it all over again, this is what I did right.
Right.
This is what I think I did exceptionally well. This is what I probably, if I had to do it all over again, might have done different.
So what I definitely would have done differently that I would encourage any person starting out in this business to do would be to ask your friends, can I come over and set up a table in your home? Mm-hmm. Can I decorate this space for you? Can I do anything? And have a friend with a camera or who's great at iPhone Reels or TikTok savvy. Ask them, can I throw a party for you for free? I would have established something that people can actually look at. It feels like something so much more tangible than take my word for it. I'm going to be great. I'm going to do great for you. Trust me.
You're going to see it.
Right. Exactly.
It's one of the, if you're going to start a business tomorrow, I'm like, what's the first thing that you do once you have an idea or a vision? Well, you got to build a website. You got to build a brand, even know that nobody's going to come to it. Right. And you're going to go take pictures and you're going to go do that product or service for free first. And then all of a sudden, then you start promoting, see what I did. Then you get one client, then a second client. And that's what you're talking about. So you didn't do that in the beginning.
I didn't. It was really take my word for it type of thing. I promise you, like lots of winks and handshakes and hugs and I've got you. But I wish that I would have put together a body of work that was truly my own, not something that I had done working for someone else. Right. Because when you've worked under a multi-billion-dollar company like Diageo or like Red Bull, right? Their pockets are unlimited for events. And that's different than someone who's planning their wedding and cares about every single dollar and how it's spent and pines over that. So I wish that I would have shown something that established myself a little more. And I say that because, like you were saying about building the website, building this portfolio that people might not even go to, but wait until they do. And you don't have a website and you don't have reviews and you don't have SEO and all of this stuff that is so important now. What do you mean you're a wedding designer and you don't have an Instagram? You don't have a
portfolio. You don't have an Instagram page. Yeah. That's important.
Yeah, exactly. And we live in such a tech savvy world that those resources are available for free because it's your phone. Right. It's your phone now. Yeah. So you can build a little something from there. And I think that that's going to help. It's going to hurt.
It's going to hurt too.
It's going to hurt.
Yeah. Money-wise, you mean?
Yeah. It's going to hurt every way. You're going to make an investment. For sure.
Right.
Yeah. Fortunately, young entrepreneurs, they have age on their side. Yeah. They're young. They can
live at home.
Oh, with their parents.
Live with their parents for free.
Oh, I would love to live with Maria and Joe for free.
That would be amazing.
Oh, that would have been sweet. Yeah. That would have been really, really sweet. Those types of things. Anyone who ever assists me, because typically they're in their 20s, because those babes and those guys, they can just go. They can just go and go and go. Anywhere. They have no quit. I love it. And then they go to the gym after. I'm like, I love that for you. And then they go home and they live with their parents. And I'm like, yes, stay there. And she's like, oh, I'm looking for an apartment in South Tampa. I'm like, stop.
Don't.
Stay in Lutz, babe. Stay in Lutz.
You're just going to get yourself in trouble.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, absolutely.
So where did you get your confidence? Like, so let's talk about that, because everybody has a unique ability. You're a very charismatic woman, right? Was it always? Is this a Maria and Joe thing? Is this a developed skill over time? Is it always been, life of the party type person? Or
well, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah. Obviously, my parents, they are definitely two charismatic people. My dad is, more low key, and my mom is really, really outgoing. Yeah. I think I've always had a big personality. When I was young, I used to put on shows for my parents and pretend I was a cocktail waitress. By the way, that was like my ambition, was to be a cocktail waitress. Well, so I kind of took that maybe like a couple notches up, but it was honestly, I as a human being, I've always been confident. When I got sick, it sort of took me down a few notches in regards to the things that really matter and the things that don't matter in a humanity perspective. And I was able to apply that professionally because I just shoot straight because life is short. Our time here together is short. Right. Like, why am I going to bullshit you? Why are you going to bullshit me? Let's not do that. Let's keep it real. And that authenticity helped me to build my confidence because people believed in me because they knew that I wasn't blowing smoke, right?
Right. You're going to deliver.
And also, I put my money where my mouth is. My events are awesome.
Yeah, they are awesome. I will say, your money. If you're watching this and you think about event planning, this is the woman you want on your side.
I love that shameless plug. Thing.
That's a shameless plug. So what's next? So, and you think about the vision of Event Lab, which is an awesome name just in of itself. I love it, right? What's the vision for 5 years from today? What is this going to look like for you?
Yeah. Well, that's a great question. Yeah. I have been pining over that myself because this never ends. Just because the business is going well, I need it to go better.
Right.
That's the point. I don't want it to just stay on this plane. I need to take it to the next level. I purposely did not include my name when I named Event Lab because I always dreamt that it was going to be bigger than Rena at the time. Caridio was my maiden name. Yeah. And if it was Rena Caridio Events, that's all it would ever be.
Yeah.
It's the Event Lab. And I want it to be a beautiful boutique agency that well surpasses me when I'm not a beautiful boutique person anymore, right? And it has that longevity. I'd love to build our team. I'd love to have young, hungry people in other markets expanding on this brand and making it something bigger than even what I dreamt it to be back then.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
So you're thinking now, take this and scale it to another level.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
How do you make that happen? Are we going to have cash come jumping right at us?
I hope so. We could only be so lucky.
We can only be so
lucky.
He
just lunges into the
like, come on over. See, now this makes it as authentic as we can. So, Rena, first, let me congratulate you on your success.
Thank you.
Thank you for being a great friend to Allison and I. This is Johnny and Cash in the screen, and I can't be more excited for what's next for you, for that future in terms of what it's going to look like. Any last words of advice as an ending comment to the Gen Z generation, young entrepreneur going to get it?
Any entrepreneur, go get it. Just go for it. If it's even on your mind, it's meant to be because not everyone thinks that big. And people they like the structure. And if you're someone who's already thinking outside of the box on how you can do it differently and how you can disrupt a space, whatever that is, go for it. Don't hold back. Don't be scared because there's going to be terror all the way through.
Doesn't matter whether you're in a corporate job or you're doing entrepreneurship.
Yes.
There's going to be terror on your way to becoming successful.
Absolutely.
That's the way it is. So choose entrepreneurship.
Yeah, always.
Just go do it.
Always, 100%.
Awesome. Thank you, Rena. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.